So yesterday we had my in-laws visiting, which was awesome. And no, it really was great. But my wife has adopted little siblings who are 13 and 14. The problem is their ages change every year, so it's harder to track. Anyway, they're like right that good like comic book enjoying age. And I know what you're thinking. Jared, aren't you 30 and also read a ton of comics? Yes, but like, you know what I mean? 13 is like a really prime. I remember sneaking comic books into my science class and putting them between the pages of my textbook when I was 13. So they were visiting when War of the Bounty Hunters #1 dropped. And I was like, listen, y'all don't want to snooze on this. We're going to have to read this together. So put it up on my wife's big old 12.9-inch iPad. I was like, all right, everybody huddled together on the couch. And I prepared to read to them a comic book aloud, in which case I realized like comic books are not the easiest thing to read aloud. Freddie, you ever try to read a comic book to somebody?
I have never tried to read a comic book to anybody but myself. And now you've got me a little curious.
Well, if there's ever little Freddies running around, I'm going to tell you, you got to try this, man, because it is tough. How about you, Meg? You ever like try to read comic books to your dog? You ever been like, hey, listen, we're going to read this together?
No.
What a reaction. Well, I actually this quite a bit. I do this quite a bit. I read to my little kids. I've been reading tons of Power Rangers comics every night. My 3-year-old before bed says, "Can we read Power Rangers?" Which is cool. And I'm like, of course, absolutely. And we've gotten better at it. You do the guided view. I do guided view with the iPad, where you can click panel to panel, especially for my kids who can't read. They're like able to follow along with, okay, this person's talking, this person's talking. But when it came to Star Wars, like, it's a little higher level for me than Power Rangers. I hate to say it. Like there was definitely like a higher level of I've got to get this right. They're going to sit and read a Star Wars comic with me, especially Mariah, my sister-in-law, not the biggest Star Wars fan, not a Star Wars hater, but like also not the biggest reader either. Has she ever sat and read a single comic book by herself? I don't think so. So this was my moment. I was like sweating, it was a lot of pressure. And I found myself doing voices for every single character. By the time I was done, I could not talk. There's a page in War of the Bounty Hunters #1 with like 5 Hutts talking to each other. I gave each and every one of those stinking slugs their own distinct voice. By the time it was done, we should have recorded this as like a Patreon exclusive. By the time it was done, I was like, y'all don't even know how hard I worked on that. I hope you appreciated it. Great. They did, I think. Anyway, let us know in the chat. Have you ever tried reading a comic book to another person? It is not the easiest task because like they got to know who's talking, and that's where the voices come in. And whew, it was a lot. You know what else is a lot? This episode of Legends Look Back. So without further ado, let's start the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Legends Look Back. We are proudly part of the Utini Podcast Network, because that's a thing now. We are a Star Wars books podcast for people who don't always jam, but when they do, they jock jam, where we talk about all things Legends, celebrating our rich EU history, as well as diving into lesser-known Star Wars classics. I'm your host, Jared Mays, as you can see right there. Oh, here it is right there. We got our new name cards. I always point the wrong side. And I'm joined tonight by the Forlom to my Zuckus, Freddy C. How are you, Freddy?
How you doing, Chewbacca? Where is it? This side? This side.
That's not what Zuckus says. Forlom? No, I called you Forlom. Which do you think would be like, which one would you rather be, Zuckus or Forlom?
Well, let's see. What Forlom is a bug like protocol droid with a bug head, right?
Right.
So yeah, I'd want to be a protocol droid. You can live forever.
More than a Gand? Oh, man, that's funny. You know who else is on this episode with us? Meg, the IG-88 in this analogy, I guess. How are you?
I am so good. I was mildly upset that I don't get a name card, but apparently one exists. I just haven't put it in the show yet. So I am somebody. I matter.
Yeah, you are. It was one of those things where one day Wes was like, hey, you know what I found? We got names. They're in here in Google Drive. And
I love that.
Like, give me a name, man. That's awesome. And that was when I was on Living Forest, that episode, and he accidentally put my name up on his screen. And I was honored. was like, I could never grow a beard that looked quite that good. But I was very excited as we get going this week. We got some new acquisitions, and boy, do I have some big, exciting acquisitions to show off. I know that Meg's been flashing her acquisitions in the Slack channels and the Discords, and but before we get to hers, I mean, this one's important. Okay, this is a big deal. Freddie, you remember a couple weeks ago when I was making these bold, outrageous claims that I've completed my Legends paperback collection?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I said erroneously, and thank you to, I think it was Mike. Could have been wrong. When in doubt, just like guess it was Mike. In the Discord said, actually, Lost Tribe of the Sith does have an edition that is the regular mass market paperback size without the Legends banner. I said it was one of the only books published that from Legends that only had a Legends banner in the paperback. And he said the only issue is it was not the US version, but the UK version was actually the mass market paperback size without a Legends banner. And I got it. So
wow.
Now, this time, sweeping declaration, I have completed my Legends paperback collection. You ever seen this thing, Freddie? I'm colorblind, but the text is a different color than the US version. You see that? What is it?
Yeah,
Purple?
that's totally different. Interesting.
Yeah. I think that the coloring looks better on the US version, but boy, was I jumped for joy. First, I beat my head against the wall in frustration that this existed, and I had no idea. Then I got it for a reasonable price, and when it arrived, jumped for joy. And if only my cord was longer, I would reach over here right now and slot it into the correct place. I'll show it off in the Discord. How about you, Freddie? What do you have to show off this week in the Thracken's Thrift Store segment?
Yeah, well, my I'm not going to show it on screen, but I got it maybe another day. But I purchased for the nice price of $9.99 The Making of Star Wars, the Enhanced Edition, which includes about 26 minutes of rare audio and video.
I've read this.
Yes, I just purchased it. It's only $10 right now. If you use our affiliate link.
It's on sale. Oh my gosh.
So I recommend it. It was published by Random House, I want to say in 2013, maybe like later 2013.
Yeah, by J.W. Rinsler.
Yes, it's a lot of content, and I really wanted to read it for this show, but I figure that's, because it falls in the 2013 timeline, we can claim it.
It could be Legends, just barely snuck in under the deadline.
Yeah. So one of these days, after I take a nice watch of all this video and this audio, and I think it's going to be pretty great.
That'd be fun. We could do a segment. We could do a whole show on. They made them for the entire original trilogy, and I was torn about do I get them on Kindle? Do I read the hardbacks? Because the hardbacks are nice. They're very collectible. They're very expensive. You can't beat that $6.99 price tag, or $9.99. One of them on the original trilogy, Empire or Jedi, I just looked, is $6.99. It's pretty good. The cool thing about, like you said, the digital versions, they've got that exclusive video and audio in there.
Yes, exactly.
So
that's why you need both.
I do this sometimes if there's a purchase I want to make. I see, I rent it from the library and see. I said rent it like it's Blockbuster in 1992. Rent it from the library. I rented this thing from the library, and the librarian was so peeved with me when I went to check it out. She was like, I work at the library, and I've never seen a book this big. Ka-thunk! It's so big. I went to pick it up on my bike too, and I was like, actually, I'm going to come back for this in the car. It's so freaking huge. Well, Meg, you know what else is freaking huge? Your growing Funko collection. Tell us about what you got.
Eric, I hope you are so proud of me. I now own over 100 Funkos. It's actually really weird that you, actually, I don't know if you did it on purpose or not. You referred to me as IG88, and that just happens to be one of the Funkos that I have acquired recently.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, the box is a little smushed, but I take them out of the box anyway, so it doesn't matter. This is one of many that I have gotten in the several weeks since we've done this. He's great. I can't wait to find a place for him to go. So So
That's awesome. I've got that one.
Yeah.
I've got the original. Now this is frustrating. All right, I collected the bounty hunters from Empire Strikes Back in Funko Pop form, right above my head over here. You can see I just thumbed Zuckus right in the knees. Then last week, a couple weeks ago, they announced that they're remaking the bounty hunters from Empire Strikes Back, but a little bigger and connectable.
oh,
I
my
was like,
God.
do I need to buy these things all over again? The answer is, I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but maybe. Maybe that's a
great.
good one, though. I've got one more fun thing that I want to show off. Now, we are getting ready for our Shadows of the Empire massive multimedia event that we're going to be doing next week across all kinds of different branches of the company. We're going to have on the Cosmic Force kicking off the event next Wednesday. We're going to do the comics. We're going to talk about Shadows of the Empire and Shadows of the Empire Evolution. We're going to do on our show next Thursday night the book Shadows of the Empire by Steve Perry. Then on Friday night, somebody, Andrew, Emma, I don't know if they've decided yet. Somebody's going to be playing Shadows of the Empire, originally for PC and N64. We're going to be streaming it on Utini Game Night. Now, I have never played the game. I've now read the comics. I've now read the book. But Freddie, I know you're like kind of OCD about this kind of thing like I am. If you had an N64,
Yes.
which I do, and you knew that this game was released on the N64, which it was. It was also released on the PC. I can get it for $6 online for PC. I could be playing it tonight. Would you, however, like me, need to play it on the N64?
Absolutely. 100%. There's a reason why I haven't played it during this whole thing is because I'm going back home to go get my N64 so I can play it before the episode.
Yes!
Oh, man.
That's dedication. I am going on a road trip tomorrow. I've got a list of 4 retro video game stores within a couple hours of my house. I'm going to all 4. This is my day tomorrow. And I am going to find, I should probably just call first, I guess. Do people still make phone calls? Is that a thing?
I think so.
Anyway, I'm gonna go and try to find Shadows of the Empire for the N64. You know what makes this even more ridiculous? I've already bought it for the N64, but I bought the limited run
Ooh.
collector's edition, still in the package.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
I just in this, so it's in that glowy purple from the 90s that you just gotta love. But I don't think I should break the seal. I could probably use like a scalpel or an X-Acto knife as less murdery, and I could slice it open and then glue it back very carefully, like the toy collector from Toy Story 2. But
Just Jared, hit me up after this. I'll send you the open version.
oh, you've got one? That's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe so. But don't rob me of my adventure. We'll see. Okay, people are telling me don't open it. Don't open it. Buy another used card on eBay. Well, eBay's overpriced. I looked, Wes. GameStop says they sell this thing for $5.99. Now, I've looked every day for the last 2 months, and they've been out of stock every day for the last 2 months. But that's my deal. I don't want to pay more than $5.99.
That's
Will
so
I
great.
spend $30 on gas tomorrow trying to find it? Yeah, it's ridiculous. Well,
You know, speaking of N64, before we merge, the one thing that I really loved about buying it was the box, and it had the Stormtrooper on the
Yeah.
side with all the other characters.
Yeah.
That was so great.
yeah, I think we're going to show off the box next week. I think we've got it queued up to show. So we're going to talk about that. Like Shizor is like looming over the top. He's like looking at you like, better do what I tell you or I'm going to put my pheromones all up in this place. And it's amazing. I love it. Wow, is Shizor a problematic character, by the way? Woo! I had no idea.
Yeah.
Ooh, I had no idea. I cannot wait for that. But what else I can't wait for? Legends Lookout, our segment in which we talk about all the upcoming Legends news, everything you should be paying attention to and should have paid attention to 30 years ago. But in case you're late, hey, we got you covered. And that is this, Freddie, it just hit me today that finally, after all this time, the Essential Legends Collections Round 1, the first wave, is coming out. It's going to hit us June
Yeah.
15th. Heir to the Empire, Bane, and Shatterpoint release on June 15th. Which of these are you going to read first?
Heir to the Empire.
Are you?
It's hard to say. Maybe Bane. 'Cause I feel like
Okay.
I just read Heir to the Empire, but it's a new book, and I just want to
Yeah.
smell it, crack it open a little bit,
They're both infinitely rereadable. Shatterpoint, though, I've only ever listened to the abridged audiobook. Now, it was the 6 hour, 18-minute abridged audiobook, so it's not like the 3 hour abridged audiobook. But I'm gonna read Shatterpoint. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna sit down with it. I might do the audiobook, the new audiobook, because there's a new audiobook, which is exciting. We haven't had a new Legends audiobook since what, 2012?
Yeah,
I'm so excited. 2013? It's a big
it's been
deal.
a while.
2014? I've totally messed up my timeline. You know.
I have no
you
idea.
know. Yeah,
It's been a
yeah.
while.
Okay. Also, in the world of Legends news in the Utiniverse, we've got a new YouTube video from our buddy Nathan on Revan. He's got a Revan character episode, which is really good, very thorough. And I want to say shout out to him. If once you're done with this, head on over there and check out everything he's got to say about Revan. Leave a like, leave a comment. His videos, they're especially those like very detailed historical videos, those need to get some more love. All right, those are very good. Puts a lot of work into those. He's also working on one about Shadows of the Empire that's in progress, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Also, Meg, tell us about the new Legends collection that we've got hitting the site. It already has hit the site, or is hitting the site soon? Hitting the site soon.
Oh, yes. It is either you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it if you haven't already. We have just released a new collection for the first time in a while about the one, the only, Jackson.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm proud of this one. I'm very proud
It's
of it.
very good.
I had to do a lot of research on a lot of old weird books in order to make this thing happen, but I had to do it for our buddy Joxy and all of his Jackson love that he has recently discovered. I'm hoping that it can catch the attention of Kevin Scott. It's kind of a love letter to his love of Jackson. It's very meta. And gotta say, I've come to love that Green Rabbit too a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on my Black series. It has not arrived yet. I'm excited for it. I don't know why it's not here. It's fine.
I forgot that I got mine. I would have showed it on the thing.
Next week. Next week. All right. And what else? Freddy, we've got new Legends Lookback merch, and we are going to show off some of that. And I could not be more excited. We've got a fanny pack. We've got a mug.
Yes.
Is there more? I don't remember, but there's at least those.
There's quite a few things there.
Yeah. Are you gonna? What would you put in your Legends Lookback fanny pack, Freddy?
Let's see. I will put the opened cartridge of Shadows of the Empire with my Blue Eyes White Dragon. Let's see.
In a sleeve. Keep it in a protector at the top.
Protector. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and then the light attachment for my Game Boy.
The magnifying glass.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
That's one of the first things my wife and I ever bonded over. Is like we both discovered that we used to sit in the back seat and play our Game Boys with a magnifying glass like an old lady, which is so cool. Excellent. Meg, do we have the? I should have asked you before the show. Do you have the merch roll?
Nope.
Okay, yeah. Well, you've seen it. It's in everything else. Utini, they're rolling it in the Cosmic Force, the Living Force. It's up in even the latest Canteen of Comics. They're rolling it there. So we've got a little video that shows off the mock-ups for the fanny pack and the mug. Now I'm excited for the fanny pack because my kids, they love the fanny pack. They like to take the smallest little collectibles and stuff them in there. Today I found 6 rubber Power Rangers from like the mid 90s stuffed into one. And I was like, this is so great. So great. You know what else is going to be great? This episode, Legends Look Back. So without further ado, we are going to get into it. Here's the thing, Freddy. The greatest breakout character in the EU, debatably, is, of course, an art connoisseur. If you think about it, thankfully, it's not Shizor because, his whole MO is, not nearly as acceptable as Thrawn. Hey, he likes art. What's wrong with that? It's very wholesome. Shizor, take a page out of his playbook, man. Tonight, we're going to take a page out of Big Bluey's playbook and examine the best of the best Legends art. Freddy, now this was your idea. You pitched this months ago. We've been trying logistically to figure out a way to make it work.
Yes.
I've looked at installing. At one point, I was looking at metal rods that I was going to screw across my studio in order to mount a camera. And then I was like, that seems crazy for one episode. So we found another way to do it. I'm excited. Tell us, Freddy, why you wanted to do this show.
Okay, so the one thing that I really love about Star Wars is the art. And if you know Legends, there's a lot of really good pieces of art for Legends that just paint a picture for you that you would never have seen otherwise. So a lot of the books that we're going to be talking about tonight have a lot of great art that are Legends related. And it was a tough one because I wanted to show some of my art pieces that I've collected over the years or some of the art books. But I was like, you know what? Let me find something that actually intersects with our show that has art involved. And it's not just comics, believe it or not. There's a lot of really cool artists who have done things based on Legends. So pretty
Yeah.
excited.
Absolutely. There's tons of good stuff. I mean, we've got artists in the Utini verse. I love looking at Skooma Joe's art over on his Instagram. That's definitely worth checking out. He's got some good stuff there, both Star Wars and non-Star Wars. But tonight we're looking at official publications in the Star Wars universe, well, in real world, about the Star Wars universe, just featuring the art. Here's the thing. We took this show back in, September, August last year, into the visual realm. If you're listening on audio, hate to break it to you, now is going to be a good point in the episode to switch over to to the YouTube video because it is going to be quite visual from here. I mean, for nothing else, you got to see Freddy's tank. Come on. But besides that, we are going to be showing off some pages from these great art books. In tonight's show, it's very visual. You're going to want to see it. You got the midnight blue, Freddy. That's good. I got the light blue. The midnight blue works well. That looks great. All right. Now, you're up first, Freddy. Tell us about your first book. What have you selected for us? We each have a few we're going to show off tonight.
Okay, so I'm picking something that when it came out, I was so excited. And I'm actually kind of glad it came out when it did because it captured a majority of Legends. And that is the Essential Reader's Companion. And
I'm glad you've got this one, Freddy, because I was kicking myself that I didn't put it in.
That's okay. I had to pick it, man.
Good.
So we're gonna try this for the first time. I don't know how this is gonna go.
Yeah. It's gonna be great.
So everybody get ready.
Freddy's at the keys tonight.
Yeah.
Oh no.
We'll see how this goes. So what we're gonna see is the cover. I'm gonna show the cover first of all. There we go. Right off the bat.
All right.
Check that out.
Now we're waiting. Meg's got to switch it over too.
One of these days, it'll get there.
Here we go.
Yeah, we had to. At first we were talking about installing top-down cameras. We figured out a workaround, but it is a little bit technical. Here we go. Yeah,
there we go. So we've got the Essential Reader's Companion, and we've got Yoda here, which everyone's complained. Oh, he's got real books, but come on, guys.
I'm glad you brought that up, Freddy. That drives me nuts, man. That drives me nuts.
They had to start somewhere, right? They couldn't have data pads at the very beginning of civilization. So either way, this is Yoda reading. This is the very cover, right? And obviously right off the bat, you see the illustrated by Chris Trevas and Jeff Carlisle. And there's some really great pieces of art. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to do this. Where do I have it? There we go. It's working out, guys. So I'm going to go to the bookmarks because I bookmarked a few things.
Oh, that's smart. I wouldn't have been that smart. There you go.
First of all, look
at
what
that.
we got
That's
here.
amazing.
We've got
is that the zombie tauntaun?
Yes, it's the zombie. It's the tauntaun who ate a person who turned into a zombie inside the tauntaun's stomach.
From
the most important one is this one. Oh, the crosswords. So this is I forget his name, Chris Travis. He does a lot of digital art, and you can tell by how smooth everything looks. It's really nice and smudged. So let's check out a couple others. You can go ahead and chat about it if you want.
Yeah, I will chime in when I've got something critical to say. Oh, look at that! I forgot this image existed. Tell our audio listeners what we're looking at, Freddy.
So what we're looking at is, we talked about it in Outbound Flight, but it's Juris Sabaoth choking Thrawn, and
through the Force, like they're not on the same ship. Yeah.
The moment that he turned to the dark side. So this was that moment, and this was where Thrawn had to make a decision, and it wasn't his best decision, but he had to do it anyway. So this is that visual.
I'm trying to decide what face Thrawn is making there. It's a little bit small for me, but like it's almost like a Pogger's face, except for like he's dying. Poggers, I'm dying. so extra. I love it. That's a good one. That's one of the better. Oh, look at this thing. I love it. What a great image.
Yeah, this is great, man. I love this piece. So I told Eric about it. We're going to be showing it on the show tonight, but it's Bail Organa carrying Obi-Wan when they're what was that? Clone Wars Wild Space.
Yeah. I was actually just talking to my brother-in-law about loaning it to him because he's big into the Clone Wars. Here it is. I've got it without the Legends banner. Very proud. This was hard to find. It's that trade paperback size, and yeah, they're on that Sith planet Zagula,
Yes.
and it's like they bond. I mean, that's those two that you just showed off. Oh, these three so far are some of the best pieces of art from this whole book.
Yeah, yeah. And so this is I think we had a little talk about this. Actually, you spoke about it and Trevor spoke about it in last week's show. Galaxy of Fear. This is the
Oh yeah.
image of Boba Fett shooting zombies.
Now, Meg famously likes Galaxy of Fear, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I did when I read it 20 years ago. Oh God.
Let's see
Yeah,
here.
I
Ooh.
could hear your gray hairs sprouting when you said that, Meg.
Wow.
Now this one, Freddie, you've got queued up is actually queued up for next week as well,
Okay.
because we are going to be talking about this whole seduction scene
Skip it.
between Shizor and Princess Leia. Actually, out of all the images that I've found online, it is one of the less racy pictures of Shizor.
Yes. There's
seducing
pretty bad
Princess
ones.
Leia. Moving on.
Yeah. So this next one is actually pretty interesting. This is from Tales of Jabba's Palace, and I really like this one because I never really knew. I had a visual of what Mara Jade looked like in my head, and obviously when this book came out, it shows you a different style, or shows you what the artist thinks she looks like. And it was really cool to see her with who is it, Ula, the dancer in the background,
Yeah, right.
and Sny Snoodles. You can see. I'm not sure if that's
Na 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 na. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's a really cool image because we hear about it in a lot of the books, but this is the first time that I've really seen it was in this one. So I'm gonna
That's
skip
cool.
a couple.
Yeah, that is never pictured in the films. It's really one of those things that's like kind of retconned in there, and so I like that they made an image of it.
Yeah, yeah. And so this is another couple of good visuals. This is from the Jedi Academy trilogy, which we spoke of a couple months ago. We've got the, what is it? The Kip Duran with the Sun Crusher, and then Jason Solo, basically using the Force to repel. What was it?
The spirit of Exar Kun? No,
Yes.
it's the big bat, like the dragon
Yes.
monster that Exar Kun sends, and then Kuran Horan over in the temple is the one who secretly defeats Exar Kun because he's the real hero of the story.
Exactly.
Pesky kids.
So I just want to give credits here to all the artists because the cool thing about this ebook is you can actually go and see who did which piece, right? If you really like it, you can come to this page, and we've got Jeff Carlisle, who did quite a bit, and Chris Scalf, he does a lot of digital art as well. A lot of good stuff, man. A lot of good art in this book. I recommend it for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad you had a cool way to show those off with having bookmarked them. That was helpful. The problem with mine, Freddie, I'm gonna have to get another one. Everybody can see my soccer game picture there. Everybody, my essential reader's companion. I've used it so much that the binding is breaking on me. So I've got to handle it with kid gloves. It's stressful. I love this book. I don't want it to break on me. Any advice on how to save my book's life? Maybe I should clone it. Maybe that would work. All right. Moving on. My book is this one. We talked about it a few episodes ago. If I can lift it, this sucker's so heavy. Star Wars Icons Han Solo. I only have a few images to show off from this one because I'm going to spend most of my time on my second book. This was from Insight Editions, written by Gina McIntyre in 2019, so very recent. This one, like Freddie's first recommendation that he had, the Rinsler books, this is also on sale right now on Amazon. I got mine for dirt cheap at Ollie's. I told that whole story about asking them to get the ladder, and they were super mad at me, and I had to like save my kid's life. It was a whole thing, but it was super fun. And this is the holy grail of, it's a $50 book I got for what, $8, $10?
So big.
I'm going to show off a couple of images from this. Now, there's a ton of cool artwork. There's a whole section, as I talked about, that is the legend of Han Solo. So it's got Han Solo's whole Legends history in here. It's got a full pull-out page of I don't think I've got this one queued up. I just want to show it how incredibly ridiculous this is. The Drew Struzan art from the Han Solo trilogy is a pullout. Each one has its own full page, 8.5 by 11. It's just amazing. It's a glorious format for that art, Paradise Snare, and all that. Now, Meg, show us what I've got pulled up for this particular book. The first image is the Hungarian art from the cover, the Hungarian cover of Han Solo's Revenge by Brian Daley. Now, in the book, they've got it without the text. It's just the image. But like I was trying to find the images to show you guys, it's a whole thing. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's so cool. So cool. What do you think? What's the look on Han's face here, Freddy? What's he thinking?
It looks like a mix of he's trying to be confident, but he's also a tiny bit scared.
He's like, yeah, that's totally a good idea. Yeah, no problem.
Exactly.
Chewie's like, this is a bad idea.
Looks like he's about to
It's great.
slap him.
Chewie's got the face, minus all the hair, that my little brother has anytime that I start doing something stupid. That's kind of what's going on there. Now, I've got one more here. It is a series of designs done by Claudia Malay for, if I'm mispronouncing the name, hey, sorry, apologize. Love your art, though. It's spectacular. This is a series of designs that was proposed as a flying platform for Jabba the Hutt that they would have used in the special edition of A New Hope. So, you remember that time period, Freddie, if we can turn to it, Meg, it's that time period of, thank you, when they were, reimagining some of the new sequences they wanted to put into A New Hope for the special editions. And it is so ridiculous. I mean, eventually they decided to just have Jabba slither along on the ground like a worm, which is offensive because in Return of the Jedi, Jabba's on like a throne. He shouldn't be hanging out, slithering around the spaceport. He needs to be up on something. Now, here's the cool thing. There's two designs that we're showing off on the show tonight. I love this comment from Skooma Joe. He looks like a melted ice cream cone. LOL. That's an understatement. Now look at this. In the book, it is a full pull-out something fell off. All right, that was the dust jacket. All right, a full accordion pull-out of all of these Jabba's the Hutt. Oh my gosh, look at this. This is why we're not just holding books up to the camera. But speaking of butt, I mean, look at all these Jabba butts. I mean, it is just spectacular. Oh my gosh.
Jabba butts.
So, when I realized this thing pulled out, I was like, yo, kids, get in here and look at this.
Look at all these Jabba butts, yo.
It's so great. I love it. It's so cool. All right. So, Freddie, you're up next.
Okay, so this next one is I just discovered this not too long ago and I totally forgot about it. It's called The Illustrated Star Wars Universe, and it was published by, I'm not sure who it was at that time, December 1995, by Kevin J. Anderson with art by Ralph McQuarrie.
I might have this. I need to check.
Yeah, if you do, it's a great read, and it's very Legendsy because so the whole thing is the book focuses on 8 major planets from the trilogy, and the text explores each planet in very great detail. It'll talk about things like skyways, cities, cultures, universities, from the point of view of some like in-universe chronicler. So like, for instance, you've got an Alderaan section, and the chronicler is Harry Seldona. And I think Harry Seldona is some kind of poet, and she's very, I'll show the pictures right now, actually.
Man, that KJA stuff gets so wacky. I love it.
It's amazing. And let's see here. I'm going to pull it up soon. Trying to remember where I had it. I'll find it. It's a PDF. There it is. That's the cover right there. If you can see that.
Hold on. If we can switch over to it.
Okay.
There it is.
Yeah,
All right. Beautiful.
That's the cover of the book. It's the Bespin painting from, I believe this one's from Ralph McQuarrie.
Yeah, it says it right there. Art by Ralph McQuarrie.
well, not all of it's done by
Oh, okay.
McQuarrie.
Yeah. Okay, Meg's blowing it up. Beautiful, gorgeous. That's better.
There you go.
Look at that Tauntaun in HD-ish.
That's beautiful. These are all beautiful pictures.
Bigger. It's moving in on me. No, other way.
We'll figure it out.
That's better. Yeah. Looks great.
Yeah, so there's stuff here, and then I'll go to my photos because I have a lot of pictures that I've saved. So these are the contents of the book. We've got Tatooine. Oh, it'll get there. Tatooine, Coruscant, Dagobah, Hoth, Endor, Bespin, Yavin, and Alderaan. And just a quick sneak peek of what that looks like. For instance, we've got Alderaan right here. Right, this is the. It's so slow. It's hilarious. So this is the Alderaan section, and the Alderaan. This is all original art.
Oh man, this is cool. I love
Yeah.
that banner up at the top.
Exactly. It's all original art by Ralph McQuarrie when he was designing everything. And Kevin J. Anderson just wrote a story around it, which is pretty fascinating. So this is
really?
Yeah. So this is in universe. The in universe, basically the author of this section from Kevin J. Anderson's point of view.
Oh, that's so weird. That's so
It,
cool.
it is. I mean, it's crazy. And I mean, for instance, this section right here that I'm showing is talking about the university in Alderaan called Alderaan University. One of the most renowned.
Go team.
AU. Yeah. So, and this is original drawings that he came up with because they thought they might have recorded on Alderaan in one of the scenes. So he came up with concept art of what Alderaan looked like. Obviously never used, but Kevin J. Anderson used it to build a story of like, oh yeah, this is the university in Alderaan. And talks about all the accolades and stuff. It's pretty amazing.
There's some great comments in the chat there from Skooma Joe and who said they agreed? Cheryl. They say that it looks like Lothal from Rebels.
Yeah,
and it really does. You can tell what they looked at. Freddy, you've got some McQuarrie art here I've never seen, which is cool.
Yeah, this is pretty amazing. So this is the other section. Of course, there's I think 8 planets that they go over. Bespin is another one, and again more art of what Bespin looked like and what was going on there, the creatures and whatnot. And from this point of view, we're looking at Councilman Poe Ruddle.
What a hunk.
Yeah. And he is the in-universe author for this section. We've got Ralph McQuarrie. I mean, he's got his signature right there. You can see exactly
that's awesome
where he's got it. So this is original art for Bespin that ILM eventually used to build their section out. So let's see. I'm going to try to find these things. I did it all out of sequence for some reason.
Yeah.
Either way, you know what? We'll just skip to this point. These are all the additional art from other people that were in this book. So, Nilo wrote it. We've got a lot of Joe Johnston in here.
Yeah, definitely a collaborator with McQuarrie.
Yeah, so really good stuff, man. I love this book. I didn't know it existed. I'm a huge fan of McQuarrie paintings, and especially the when Hasbro came out with the concept, right? You've got the white Boba Fett. I scooped that one up as soon as I could. Big fan of Ralph McQuarrie and all of his art, so I think this is definitely legendary.
Unpopular opinion from Freddy's seat. Big fan of Ralph McQuarrie and all his art. No, it is a great book. There's a lot of Ralph McQuarrie art books out there. This one is cool because it's got that Legends twist from Kevin J. Anderson.
Yeah, exactly.
You had me at Kevin. I didn't even need the J. Anderson, and I was already hooked. Now,
right.
Meg, you're going to talk a little bit about a book here tonight. Don't let Freddy and me have all the fun. What did you want to tell us about?
Yeah, hold on.
Meg and I had a long discussion about whether or not this particular book had any Legends content in it. And the verdict is
sort of.
Not really. It's debatable.
Sort of. Some characters exist in canon and
That's
Legends. Right. It all works out.
They overlap.
Yeah. So one of my favorite, it's not technically an art book, but it has art in it. You'll see in a minute. One of my favorite reference books, and actually the first Star Wars reference book I ever got, was the Women of the Galaxy book. I reference this all the time when I'm just looking up or trying to think of characters or things like that. I used it on Instagram for something last year.
It was the coolest thing you did.
Yeah, it's a really good, it's an amazing book, and they actually need to do another one because there's been so many female characters added to canon since then that they need to add that don't have entries.
And all the Legends
and
ones.
You know what? Yes, and all the Legends. They might as well put them in there. I thought the reason I picked this book is because I thought there was a Mara Jade entry. There's not. Oh well, I found one anyway. No, there are a lot of
Pour one
chords.
out for Mary Jane.
Just hold on. We're fine. We're fine.
Oh man, this book is what inspired the episode of Legends Lookback, the Ladies of Legends.
That was a great episode.
Yeah, definitely, especially the part when Meg lost the show notes.
We don't talk about that anymore.
It was my fault.
All right, I am untangled now. We'll see if there's probably going to be a glare. It's fine. So this is, oh God.
That's good.
Yeah, so this is the entry on Jocasta Nu, and like all the art, like this page, it's all like that, and it's just so pretty. Like the full page pictures that they have in here, they're just amazing. If you don't have it here, this is what it looks like. If you don't have it, definitely get it. It has a lot of good info, but also it's very pretty. So
hit up that Utini affiliate link. Go on over to utini.com. Google it. Women of the Galaxy. Now, Meg, can you find who? I'll move on to our next one. Can you find the artist who did the full page spread art in that book? Because we should probably credit them. It's awesome.
We'll do that.
I'm gonna look it up on my end too. Women of the Galaxy. We don't Google things live on the show. That would be unprofessional. I mean, it's at our fingertips. Can you blame us? I did this last night when I was teaching Bible class. Somebody made I made a reference. And I was like, yeah, I don't know where that's at. I'm going to look it up. Everybody hold on. And we found it. Man, that's such a great book. I'm not a woman, nor am I the biggest canon person, but I had to get this book. It's so beautiful.
It's so good. It's so worth it.
Absolutely. Looks like the illustrator is a name I cannot pronounce. Thanks for that. Elsa is her first name. Elsa Charretier, but way less redneck than that. Charretier. If Freddy were saying it, it would just be flawless. All right. Freddy, what's up next?
All right. So up next is, so the first time I went on Legends, or I went on the Living Force, they asked me for my favorite books, and I said a Legends book. And of course, everyone flipped out. But I had to break the rules.
They said your favorite canon book, and you said no.
Here's my favorite Legends book. So that's very much how I still feel, right? That's where I stick to, because there's a lot of content there. There's a lot of things that I don't know about still, and I find it fascinating that even after this long, I'm still finding new things. And so, speaking of which, the newest thing that I found was, I don't have it in the show notes. I don't think I have it in the show notes. So it's a surprise.
Yeah,
to everybody.
I'm on the edge of my pants.
I love surprises.
Is that an expression? Edge of my pants or edge of my seat? Which one is it? I'm fully in my pants. Don't worry. I'm on the edge of my seat.
So it's I'm gonna take the screen over again. I hope this is working out, guys. I hope you guys.
It's
like
better
this,
now that we resized.
Yeah, we fixed it. We fixed it. Let us know if it's not good, and we'll fix it again.
All right,
man. That moment on Living Force, Freddy, when you, I didn't even know you at that point. And they were like, what's your favorite canon book? And you said, this one's kind of canon. A moment that will live in infamy. At that moment, I knew we were going to be friends.
All right. So as you can see, I've got a lot of Star Wars pictures in here. But here it is. From Pencil to Pixel, the art of Star Wars Galaxies. Well, okay. I'm pretty sure.
Galaxies.
If you've listened to the show for a bit, I like this. I like this video game quite a bit. And this was released with the, I believe it was like a special edition for Star Wars Galaxies. You got the book, a couple other things. And I never got this version because I had no idea that Star Wars Galaxies existed. I mean, this was like back in the day when I didn't really go to any forums. I was just Yahooing people or aiming, right? AOL.
I thought that was some kind of like a euphemism, Freddy. I was Yahooing people. I was like, whoa, what does that mean?
We're not playing The Sims here. So anyway, this is the art of Star Wars Galaxies. Now, I took pictures with my camera because I just had to show it.
Yeah, this is.
And
good.
I've been wanting to show it for a while. I mean, this was literally why I wanted to do this, this whole thing. So we've got a.
Yeah, this is what inspired the episode, wasn't it? Is you got this book, you're like, I got to show it off.
Exactly. So this book is interesting. It basically takes the game and it gives you information on the different planets and the art style of those planets, the type of architecture on them, the type of vehicles to expect. the species you can play, and I'll show a couple pictures here. So here's the table of contents. You've got the planets that goes over, so Corellia, Dantooine, Dathomir, and these were playable planets. You could go there and build a house on these planets. It's pretty crazy. And of course, all the species you could play in game are on the other side. And I'm gonna go to the next one. So we've got Bothan here.
Oh my
And
gosh, that's spectacular.
yeah, and so this is, it's got right here in the text. We can't read it, but it says something about along the lines of um, the most unusual choice of playable species because it was never shown
Oh,
in the films. So this came from Legend, or from Legends comics, and they created an actual character for it.
Freddie, we should
And
talk about sometime like the vast um, i- interpretations of Bothan design across Star Wars. So you've already got some here that shows just how different they look. The first
yeah,
one there had like the long braids. This guy's got like a full dog snout.
yeah,
It got a Bothan in a hat, Bothan in a pool hat, maybe. Who knows?
yeah. And so you've got the same thing going on with all the other species. And I just took a snapshot of this one. So
That's
this is the
so weird.
Yeah, so now we've got the humans, and this is basically all the hairstyles you can choose. Obviously, you couldn't get all of them unless you had a specific profession that could give you that specific one.
Like
All
a
the
Star
skin
Wars
colors.
hairstylist.
Yeah, exactly. It was she. I think the character was inspired by like Ula or somebody, and it was a image designer. Literally, that's what it was called in game.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And we've got the art of the cities, and this is actual content that was in the video game. So these are snapshots from the video game themselves. So this is what it looked like. Not, I mean, obviously not all the pieces. You've got some that are actually
That's
like
so cool.
sketched art, but this is all 3D art.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is the species on Naboo.
This is officially the most galaxies I've ever played. Watching you flip through this book.
Yeah, so you've got what is that? The Famba
That's
from
cool.
what was it? Attack of the Clones, or I believe that was Attack of the Clones, or
Sounds right.
something around there, right? Or
Is that
sorry.
the one that Anakin wrestles and then fakes that he, or is that like, wasn't like a tick, like a big flea?
No, actually, that was a Phantom Menace. I'm mistaken. Sorry, guys. So the ones the giant dinosaurs in Phantom Menace that had the
Oh, okay. Yep.
yeah, and they're huge. In game, they're about the same exact size. And of course, you've got the architecture, mining machines, bases, everything. So
That's cool. Yeah, there's architecture in there, not just characters and aliens. That's cool. I have to get
Yeah.
Joxy hooked up with this page.
Yeah. So that's my last book, and this is, I really wanted to show a lot of people this stuff because I played this game from maybe the second year it was released into today. I mean, I still play it to this day, and the amount of time I've invested in it is all. There's no regrets. I love it all. It's been great, and I recommend if anybody's out there who wants to play it, let me know. I'll get you set up.
That's cool, man. I'm more interested than I've ever been now that I'm looking at this book. I love that 3D art. That's so cool. I'm actually looking at building like a whole KOTOR shelf in my collection. I'm thinking about making a whole shelf just of KOTOR books and some of the collectible games and action figures, and we're getting more Funkos coming. And kind of feeling like you should make one for Star Wars Galaxies. Get like get the disc in a case of some sort. I don't know. It's kind of hard to do a featured shelf of a video game, but the book was cool. Now, second up for me, it's also my third pick. So there's 2 volumes of this book that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to spend the most time on the first one because, well, I picked out so many images from the first book that I didn't have time to pull any more from the second. So I will talk just briefly. This is a 2-volume set. If I can lift these suckers, Star Wars panel to panel from the pages of Dark Horse Comics to a galaxy far, far away. First one's got this kind of samurai-looking Vader on the cover. Second one has Ayla Secura looking ready for action, using the Force and strengthening her core at the same time, as she was always rife to do in the late 2000s in the comics. So I'm going to show off a number of the pages here. This book was published in 2004 by Dark Horse Books. So like the books line of Dark Horse Comics publishing. edited by the editor, just recently retired, Randy Stradley, helped compile this. And for the most part, it just takes the textless art, specifically the covers. It's got some interiors as well, from the Dark Horse era, and puts it without the text, in a full page collectible format for you to appreciate the art. That, of course, comics are often printed on a less than ideal paper grade in order to make them available to the masses. And so this is a way to really showcase this. As far as I know, Volume 1 comes in hardback and paperback, but both of them are available in paperback. I have not found Volume 2 in hardback. If I'm wrong, I apologize. Volume 2 came out in, I don't have the date. All right. Well, the first one came out in 2004. So let's talk about some of the images that I've picked out here. First and foremost is tying into what we're going to talk about next week, and that is I've got an image from Shadow. Oops, nope, I'm wrong. I skipped a line with my eyes. Let's try this again. First and foremost is Splinter of the Mind's Eye. This image is Duncan oh, come on. Here, one more time. Duncan Fegredo. I gotta say it like a redneck. I tried to say it all ethnic. I try to sound like Freddy, the way he can roll your R's. Fegredo. Yeah. Duncan Fegredo. This was done in 1996. I mean, Freddy, this almost makes Splinter of the Mind's Eye look like a good book, doesn't it?
Yeah, geez, this is nice. I like this.
It's so cool. Ignore the fact that Luke is totally obsessed with Leia in a weird romantic way throughout this book. There is a comic adaptation, of course, which this was done for. It is the cover of Splinter of the Mind's Eye #1, I believe. Secondly, I've got Heir to the Empire #1 by Matthew Loffray. Once again, the names. Apologies. This was done in 1995. Now, Freddie, I've got a question to ask you about this one. Heir to the Empire #1. When we pull it up, I'm going to ask you what is unusual about this image. This is infamous within the world of Legends art. Heir to the Empire #1. Do you have this one, Meg?
I thought I did.
Okay. If not, I'll tell you. They actually just made an action figure for this, specifically of this particular Luke. Luke with his sleeveless garb. You know what I'm talking about? Almost looking like Freddy over there, baring his shoulders. Specifically, I've got it here in the book too. All right, so what do you notice about this particular, so I can remove the glare, this particular image of Heir to the Empire? Come on, get straight. There it is.
He's so ripped.
Well, not just that he's ripped. Notice he's got a blue saber.
Yeah.
At this point in the story, his saber should be what color?
Green, right? At
Yeah.
this point, yeah.
And so it's a very iconic piece. They actually just made the action figure of this, the Black Series, and in it he's got jacked sleeveless Luke with the blue lightsaber, which is cool. My current iPad background is Luke with it's this exact image, but somebody color corrected the saber to green. And so I've had it up on my iPad for a while. Thirdly, I want to show off Shadows of the Empire #4 by Hugh Fleming. This was done in 1996. This is something we're going to talk about next week. This is the cover to #4. In this, Leia is in her Bouche costume, and Chewie is in his bounty hunter disguise, which this might be my favorite thing in all of Legends. Forget Naked Palps. What I want now is Chewie. I want bounty hunter Chewie. Isn't this awesome?
That's so cool. Yeah, I like that. And this is exactly when they're well, I won't ruin too much, but they're visiting a certain somebody in garb to get them past security, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is actually out of the action figures they made, one of the harder ones to find. I've been collecting the Shadows of the Empire action figures. I just picked up Dash Rendar last week, or the guy that sold it to me in Marlborough, Massachusetts, Dash Rendar. So I'm trying to collect the Shadows of the Empire action figures, and I've got Shizor and Dash, but I really want this bounty hunter Chewie. So awesome. Now we've got some great comments here in the comments on the YouTube, and that is our buddy Rob says that Luke had a shake weight in his X-Wing cockpit. Hashtag facts. Which is great. Scuba Joe says Luke's saber color for Heir to the Empire was changed to blue because the artist felt green didn't match the color palette or something. And that sounds rice. Yeah, rice. That sounds right. Sounds right to me. Okay, next up, I've got Mara Jade by the Emperor's Hand by Killian Plunkett. This was done in 1998 and is like the most metal thing ever.
That's so cool.
All right, her red hair. It's hard to draw hair well. And it's got the exploding second Death Star in the background. This is the cover of issue 2. If you're listening on audios, the cover of issue 2, if you want to look it up. She's got her hands like she's, I don't know. It's been a while since I've read this. I'm gonna get to it soon. Maybe she's experiencing the grief of losing Palpatine, but it looks like she's just rocking out, doesn't it? To like some Joan Jett.
It's so cool, man. I like it.
Oh, cool. All right. Now we've got coming up next, Republic number 55 by Kev Walker. This was done in 2003. This one is just for Charles. When he gets around to watching this one, Obi-Wan leading some clones into battle. This, I believe, is either of the Obsession story arc or near it, which is some of my very favorite Legends comics. Have you read like the Legends Clone Wars comics, Freddy?
You know what? I haven't honestly. I haven't read too many of those comics. It's a little dark area for me in terms
I
of.
must say this, unpopular opinion. I prefer the Legends Clone Wars comics to the Clone Wars TV show. Now, I love the Clone Wars TV show. It's infinitely watchable and rewatchable, but there was like a dark, broody element to those Legends Clone Wars comics that was just so good. And it's fun to revisit from that skewed perspective now that we've all become so familiar with the show. And this is a great cover. Next, we've got The Last Command #1 by, once again, Matthew Lafray, done in 1997. This one's cool because it's a totally different style than Ripped Luke, right? This one is, you got Obi-Wan, and his saber looks a little green here, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like a neon green or something.
It's so cool. I love it. I love the white with the circle and then the Star Destroyers and the saber and Obi-Wan's head. They're popping up out of the circle.
Yeah.
I like that as an artistic choice. Also, no, I'm colorblind, but I like the gradient effect in the lettering on
nice.
Star Wars up top. What exactly are the colors? I don't know, but I like it. Next, we've got... I need to start checking these off in my notes so I know where I'm at. I've got way too many of these selected. All right. Splinter of the Mind's Eye, Heir of the Empire, Shadows of the Empire, Mara Jade, Republic 55, The Last Command #1, Dark Empire #5. I'm going to present this one without comment.
You sure about that?
And Meg says, are you sure about that? Yeah. Without comment. This is just for us to feast our eyes upon. I think all right, Slimy Naked Palps jokes aside. Freddy, come on. Is this not one of the greatest pieces of Legends art ever made?
It honestly is. It's this is Tom Veitch, right? It says it at the bottom. That's his cover art.
Yeah, Tom Veitch is the writer. The cover art here is Dave Gorman.
That's right. Next right. Sorry,
or as I put in the show notes, Dave Gorman.
You can see his signature right there on the sleeve of the Emperor.
Yeah, Dave Dorman's art, his covers for the series are spectacular. What I particularly like about this is the color palette of the green and the purple and the blue. The gradients there it's such 90s. And the series has got, Cam Kennedy's art interiors are very underscored. What's the word I'm looking for? Washed out, kind of grays, very dark. This leads into that, but it is brighter. So you need the cover to be brighter, but it does, of course, lead us into that washed out look. Now, this next one is also paralleled in the Black Series wave that's just been done with that ripped Luke and the Jackson figure. I've got queued up here one of the many beautiful, gorgeous Darth Maul covers from Drew Struzan done in 2000. This was right alongside.
So nice.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Now, there were 4 or 5 pages of these Drew Struzan Maul images that I had a hard time choosing between. I chose this one because this is what the action figure is based off of. I mean, you know who else has a shake weight? Maul. I mean, look how jacked he is here. It's so great. It's so
like
cool.
2% body fat.
Absolutely. I spent some time today thinking, I wonder what my percentage is. I'd like to think it's under 20, but it's definitely more than Maul. It's definitely more than Maul. Okay, we've got Jedi Count Dooku, also from the prequel era, done by Jan Duursema and Dan Anderson in 2003. Gotta love some Dursuma art. Dursuma's just recently been doing some more Star Wars art again with some alternate covers for the High Republic, which I've been collecting. And so glad to see her illustrating the most underrated Sith Lord and his arthritis fingers. So we've got coming up next something that I've just recently rediscovered, recently discovered for me for the first time, but it's been out for a while, and that's Crimson Empire. I've got an image here from Crimson Empire #3 by Dave Dorman, once again, in 1998. Now, these images from Dave Dorman of Crimson Empire are some of the most like action-packed images that they have ever showcased in all of Star Wars. Meg, are we missing this one?
Yeah.
It's okay if it is. I'll show it off. This image here is actually in it's the cover of another book. It's the cover of one of my honorable mentions. There's another hardcover comics art book called Star Wars Art: Comics. What an original name. Am I right, Freddy? Star Wars Art Comics.
It's so good.
So this one here is the one I'm tapping of him with the double lance hovering over the pile of stormtroopers swarming Kir Kanos is just spectacular. And so this is a pretty gory series, pretty brutal, but it's the art, especially those Dave Dorman covers, are just amazing. Meg is leading me. She wants me to finish the show. She's
Sorry.
You're fine.
What?
I'm moving on, Meg. It's Master. What we've got up next is Master Tyvoka. This is an image from the Republic comics. It's actually before it became Republic, when it was still Star Wars. Star Wars 37 in 2001. This is drawn by Jan Duursema. Again, can you tell I've got my favorite artists showing off a lot of Dorman, a lot of Duursema. This is awesome because it's also the coloring is important. The coloring here, the yellows. You don't see a lot of yellow lightsabers, do you, Freddy?
No, you don't. I'm pretty sure I've only seen it like twice.
So Master Tyvoka is colored by Dave McCaig. So I want to give him a shout out to Star Wars number 37 in 2011. Two more, also from Star Wars in the late 90s, early 2000s, the same series. We've got an image of Asherad Het by Ken Kelly from Star Wars number 10. Now, you know the whole story on Asherad Het, Freddy?
Let's see. Is this the Jedi Tusken Raider, right? The one that had that was like the King Tusken for a while. I forget the name.
Yeah, and then his son ends up taking on a life of his own.
Yeah.
Much later, and we won't spoil too much of that, but it comes up again this is like all retconned and explained in further detail in the Legacy series, which is absolutely amazing. I love the connective tissue they've got with the Hets. Not to be confused with the Fets, different people. All right, it's Star Wars or the Huts, not the Fets or the Huts. It's the Hets. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything more legendsy than the story of Asherad Het. It's so incredibly cool. There's actually a story, Freddie. I won't say too much about this because we're going long. Of Anakin and Asherad Het kind of having to have a butting of heads and a heart to heart, where Anakin has to confront his hatred of Tusken Raiders.
Yeah.
With a former Tusken Raider Jedi.
Yeah.
And it goes through crazy emotional depths. All right, and finally, I've got to show this off because what a year he's having. This morning on Twitter, I declared definitively, and because it's Twitter, I can say whatever I want, and it's set in stone. It's out there. Definitively, I declared 2021 the year of Bib Fortuna. It is the year of Bib Fortuna. I've got an image here of X-Wing Rogue Squadron number 10, drawn by Mark Harrison in 1996. Now, this is some classic 90s comics art, isn't it, Freddie?
Oh, my goodness, it is. That's bringing back a lot of memories.
You got one of those Tatooine brain spiders, and then it's one of the Bomar monks, right, in the brain spider, which is the most legendsy thing that ever happened, hanging out with Fat Fortuna over here. And his brain tails and his lumpy skull. It's just so fantastic. I mean, hey, what a year he's having between The Mandalorian, the reveal he had in the season 2, going into the Book of Boba Fett. We've got him in Bad Batch. He just came out. He's coming up again in this War of the Bounty Hunter series. And now, even on Legends Lookback, we got Bib Fortuna. Now, you didn't know I was I was foreshadowing when I tweeted that this morning. Did you, Freddie?
That's pretty amazing.
And like I said, I've also got volume 2. Not going to go into too much detail, but there's some great images here as well. This one's got this double page spread of, it's so hectic, of Roland Dyer in the Legacy series. Not Legacy. What was that called? Knights of the Old Republic.
That's a good one.
Yeah, from Knights of the
full
Old
spread.
Republic, number 9. Yeah, it's one of my favorite images from that. This one covers, we've got the Old Republic, Countdown to the Empire, The Dark Times, The Rebellion, Return of the Sith, Wild Space, and a galaxy map as well. So love these books, absolutely endorse them. Other books that didn't make the cut, Freddie, that are on our wish lists. Any others that are worth talking about?
There's a lot of books. I mean, there's the Ralph McQuarrie books. There's the Star Wars Archive books with a lot of art in them. There's all of the original art that you find at celebrations. You've got Malcolm Tweed, who's done some beautiful pieces. I've got a few of them. Hopefully, one of these days, I'll actually show them in the background when I get all my furniture set up. Vanderbilt. You've got a lot of really, really good artists who are making a lot of this stuff based on Legends books and even canon, of course. And so, props to everybody out there. I recommend if you're into art at all, if you're into Star Wars at all, you're gonna love all of this art. There's so much out there. There should be a whole podcast specifically about it.
Yeah, this is the best we can do, Freddie. I'm about all
This is
arted out.
great.
I'm going to have to read
This
an
is great.
actual book with just words after this. Just kidding. I've got kids. I read picture books every day. I do want to plug one more, and that is one I'm in search of. I have not found it yet. Star Wars, The Art of the Brothers Hildebrandt. So these were the guys that did one of the original Star Wars posters, from way back in the 70s. Also did a lot of Shadows of the Empire art, the Hildebrandt brothers. And so I discovered this in my Shadows of the Empire research. And so we'll talk more about them next week. But there's a whole art book just dedicated to their art with lots of exclusive Shadows of the Empire art in here, full page spreads. In this new, what do you call this? Star Wars Insider, the fiction collection, the Dash Rendar story actually has some full page Hildebrandt art in here too, which is cool. If I can find it. The one about his droid, Lebo. And Lebo makes 3, I believe is the story. Yeah, here we go. So there's a whole, like, Dash Rendar looking like the 90s
So
action
nice.
hero he is. Gets a full page spread here by the Hildebrandt brothers. It's got this very old school kind of look to it. Very 90s, very
Duke
almost like
Nukem.
80s action hero. What's that, Freddie?
Looks like Duke Nukem.
Yeah, absolutely does. Absolutely. So a bunch of those in this book as well. Well, next episode, Freddie, we've got quite a busy week coming up next week.
Yeah.
We're going to be, our next episode is on Thursday, but we are going to both be appearing on The Cosmic Force next Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for Freddie, 6 p.m. Pacific. Alongside that crew, we're talking about Shadows of the Empire and Shadows of the Empire Evolutions. And I can't wait to dive into that with all of them. It's been a ton of fun. I can't wait to be on the show again. And we're going to then cover the book on our episode next week. Saw Mike in the Discord's reading the book today, and he discovered what we talked about last week, Freddie, Naked Vader. You want to hear more about that?
Oh my God.
Save it for next week. This book has got Naked Vader twice in the book. It's got naked Shizor taking baths. He
Plenty of
loves
times.
loves his baths. And it's got Shizor wishing Leia was naked. Does he achieve that? That's the climax of the book. Is
Yeah.
Does he score with Leia? And to find out, you have to listen next week. Thankfully, the answer is no. Thankfully. Ooh, it's problematic, but it's a good book in some other ways. So we're going to talk about it in all of its 90s glory. So that does it for this week. Thanks for joining us on Legends Look Back. Thanks to our incredible patrons. Thanks to everybody who's been here with us in the chat. It's been popping the night. What a great crew we have had. Thanks to our incredible patrons who have been along for the ride, help us make the show that we absolutely love doing. Especially want to thank Cheryl Bell, Patrick Ortiz, Carl Sander on our Jedi High Council, Elizabeth Cloutier, Jason Mitchell, Sally and Chris Eilerson, and who's this other guy on here? Oh, Freddie. Yeah, Freddie C. on our Alliance High Command for their amazing support. If you'd like your thoughts around the show, if you've got some Legends art for us and want us to talk about it, hey, now's your chance. Email us at legendslookback@utini.com. Send us a message in the Legends Look Back Discord channel. It's always a great place to do it. You can leave a comment on this episode on YouTube. They don't know that you can put an image there. Or, of course, you can find us on Twitter at Legends Look Back. You can find me at Jared Q. Mace or Freddy.
At Wake Up Freddy.
Yeah, wake up, Freddy. Or Meg.
At Meg Dowell.
That was like a good use of Wake Up Freddy. It actually worked out. I've used that a couple times now since we've been friends, Freddy. A couple moments, I'm like, I need Freddy to know about this Legends news. Wake up, Freddy! And that is, of course, where you can find him on Twitter. If you're looking to buy some of these books, boy, if we talked about a lot of them tonight, these big art books, or even those very inexpensive on-sale Kindle books that we've talked about tonight, such as those J.W. Rinsler historical tomes. You can find those over on utini.com. Click on the Amazon link in the profile and give us a few cents to help keep the lights on. If you've read the books, hey, you can then, through that same portal in the book profile page, you can leave us a review and let us know what you think. Remember, everybody, until next week, remember to keep the Utini fan code and be a force for positivity in the fandom. May the force be with you.